The child stood in the doorway like a question mark carved from sunlight and shadow. Cole Brennan didn't see her at first. He was bent over the water trough, scrubbing blood from his hands, horse blood, from a mare that hadn't made it through the night. The water ran pink between his fingers, and the morning air smelled of hay and loss. When he finally looked up, she was just standing there, maybe 5 years old, maybe 6, barefoot in a dress that had once been white but now carried the gray stain of too many roads. Her hair hung in tangled knots, the color of wheat left too long in the field. Her face was still, but her eyes moved quick, animal movements, like something that had learned not to trust stillness. Cole straightened slowly, water dripping from his knuckles. "Where'd you come from?" he asked. She didn't answer, just stared at him with those eyes brown and too old for her face. He glanced past her toward the road. Empty. The Wyoming plains stretched out in all directions, endless and indifferent. No wagon, no dust cloud, no sign of anyone. "You lost?" He tried again. Still nothing. Cole wiped his hands on his trousers and took a step closer. She didn't move, but something in her posture shifted, a tightening, a readiness to run. He stopped. "You hungry?" That got her. Just the smallest flicker in her eyes. Not hope, just recognition. "Come on," he said quietly, turning toward the house. "I'll get you something." He didn't look back to see if she followed, but when he reached the porch, he heard the soft pad of bare feet on dirt behind him. Inside, the house was cool and dim. Cole moved to the stove and stirred the embers, adding kindling until small flames licked upward. He poured water into a pot, added oats, a pinch of salt. The girl stood near the door, watching him with that same unblinking stillness. "Sit," he said, nodding toward the table. She didn't sit, but she moved closer just a step. Cole let the silence stretch. He'd learned long ago that silence could be kinder than questions. He stirred the pot, listened to the soft bubble of the oats, felt the weight of her gaze on his back. When the food was ready, he ladled it into a wooden bowl and set it on the table. He placed a spoon beside it, then stepped back, giving her space. She approached slowly, eyes darting between him and the bowl. When she finally sat, she didn't use the spoon. She lifted the bowl with both hands and drank, her small throat working in quick, desperate swallows. Cole turned away and poured himself coffee. He didn't want her to feel watched. When he turned back, the bowl was empty. She was staring at it like it might refill itself. "More?" he asked. She looked up at him, and for the first time, she spoke. "Sir, is Mama coming back?" The words hit him like a stone dropped into still water. He opened his mouth, closed it. Nothing came out. The child's face didn't change. She just waited, patient as the horizon. Cole set his coffee down carefully. "Where's your mama now?" She said to wait. She said she'd come back. "Where'd she go?" The girl's gaze drifted toward the window, toward the road. "She walked that way, with the man." "What man?" "The man with the horse." Cole felt something cold settle in his chest. "When was this?" The girl shrugged. "Night, then morning, then night again. 2 days, maybe 3. He crouched down so he was level with her. "What's your name?" "Lily." "Lily, I'm Cole. Did your mama say where she was going with this man?" "She said she'd be back before I woke up, but I woke up lots of times." Cole studied her face. No tears, no trembling, just that terrible, hollow patience. "Where were you waiting?" he asked gently. "The barn." He stood quickly and moved to the window. His barn sat 50 yards from the house, its doors slightly ajar. He'd been in there at first light to check on the mare. He hadn't seen a child. "Show me," he said. Lily slid off the chair and walked toward the door. Cole followed her across the yard, past the trough, past the fence line. She led him into the barn, into the smell of old wood and animal warmth. She stopped near the back corner, where hay bales were stacked against the wall. She pointed to the narrow gap between the bales and the boards. "In there," she said. Cole moved closer. The gap was barely wide enough for a child. He crouched down and saw the small nest she'd made a hollow in the hay. A scrap of cloth that might have been a blanket, a tin cup. "You been sleeping here?" he asked. "Mama said it was safe. She said nobody would find me." "Did she say why you needed to hide?" Lily looked at him with those two old eyes. "She said the man was angry." Cole straightened. His jaw tightened. He looked out through the barn doors, toward the road again, and felt the weight of something he didn't yet understand settling over him. "Lily," he said quietly, "your mama might not be coming back." She didn't react, just stood there, small and still, like she'd already known. "But you're safe here," Cole added. "You hear me? You're safe." She nodded once. A small, mechanical movement. Cole felt a knot forming in his throat. He didn't know this child, didn't know her mother, didn't know what kind of trouble had blown through here in the night, but he knew what it looked like when someone had been left behind, and he knew he couldn't leave her. "Come on," he said. "Let's get you cleaned up." As they walked back toward the house, the wind picked up, carrying dust across the yard. Cole glanced once more at the empty road. Somewhere out there, a woman had made a choice. Maybe out of fear, maybe out of desperation. But the child she'd left behind was standing right here. And Cole Brennan had just become the only answer to a question he didn't know how to ask. By noon, Lily had washed her face and hands in the basin, and Cole had found her an old shirt that hung past her knees like a nightgown. She sat at the table now, quiet as a shadow, watching him move through the house. He didn't know what to do with her. He was a rancher, not a father. He lived alone by choice, spoke to his horses more than people, and the closest town was a 2-hour ride. He had no wife, no family, no notion of how to care for a child who'd been abandoned in his barn like a secret. But he couldn't just turn her out. He made her another bowl of oats. She ate slower this time, using the spoon. He sat across from her with his coffee and tried to think. "Lily," he said, "did your mama say anything else? Anything about where she was going? Or why?" Lily shook her head. "She said she loved me. She said to be brave." Cole's chest tightened. "And the man? Did you see him?" "Just his boots. They were shiny. Shiny boots. A man with money then, or a man who wanted to look like he had it." "Did your mama seem scared of him?" Lily thought about it. She seemed tired. The word hung in the air like smoke. Cole knew tired. He'd seen it in men who'd lost their land, in women who'd buried too many children, in drifters who'd run out of places to run to. Tired was when you stopped fighting and just let the current take you. "All right," he said softly. "You finish eating. I need to go into town." Her eyes snapped up, wide and sudden. "Are you leaving me?" "No," Cole said quickly. "I'm taking you with me. I need to ask some questions. See if anyone knows about your mama." She relaxed slightly, but her hand stayed tight around the spoon. "I'm not leaving you," Cole repeated. "I promise." The ride into Grafton took longer than usual. Cole kept the horse at a walk, Lily seated in front of him, her small body tense against his chest. She didn't speak, but her head swiveled at every sound: a bird taking flight, a rabbit darting into brush, the distant bark of a dog. She'd learned to be afraid. That much was clear. When they reached town, the main street was quiet. A few wagons, a handful of men outside the saloon, a woman sweeping the steps of the general store. Cole tied the horse outside the sheriff's office and lifted Lily down. Inside, Sheriff Tom Kratic sat behind a desk cluttered with papers and a half-eaten sandwich. He was a big man, broad-shouldered and graying, with a face that had seen too much and forgotten nothing. He looked up when Cole entered, his eyes moving from the rancher to the child. "Cole," he said slowly. "Who's this?" "Found her in my barn this morning," Cole said. "Says her mother left her there 2, maybe 3 nights ago. Told her to wait. Hasn't come back." Kratic's expression darkened. He set down his sandwich and leaned forward. "She say where the mother went, walked off with a man. She doesn't know much more than that." Kratic looked at Lily. "What's your name, sweetheart?" "Lily," she whispered. "Lily, do you know your mama's name? Her full name?" Lily hesitated. "Mama," Kratic sighed. He looked back at Cole. "Any tracks? Anything to go on?" Not much. Wind's blown most of it away. But the girl mentioned the man had shiny boots. Kratic grunted. That could be half the territory. Or someone specific, Cole said. Someone passing through. Someone with enough pull to make a woman leave her child behind. Kratic leaned back in his chair, his jaw working. Could be a lot of things, Cole. Could be the woman ran off willingly. Could be she got herself into trouble. Could be she's dead in a ditch somewhere. Cole's voice hardened. Either way, the child's still here. And you want to do what exactly? Take her in? I don't see another option. Kratic rubbed his face. You know what you're signing up for? Kid's not a stray dog. She's got needs. Questions. She'll want her mother. I know, Cole said quietly. And if the mother comes back? Or if someone else has a claim on her, then we deal with it. But right now, she's got nobody. Kratic studied him for a long moment. Then he nodded slowly. All right, I'll ask around. See if anyone's seen a woman matching the description. But Cole, he paused. If this goes bad, if someone comes looking, it's gonna fall on you. I know, Cole said again. Kratic glanced at Lily, then back at Cole. You're a good man. Probably too good. Cole didn't answer. He just took Lily's hand and led her back outside. As they rode out of town, the sun was beginning its slow descent. The wind had picked up, carrying the smell of sage and distant rain. Lily leaned back against Cole, her small body finally relaxing. Sir, she said quietly. Yeah, are you angry at Mama? Cole thought about it. No, he said. I'm not angry. Are you sad? He swallowed. A little. Me too. They rode the rest of the way in silence. When they reached the ranch, Cole helped Lily down and led her inside. He made her a bed in the small room off the kitchen, just a cot and a blanket, but it was warm and safe. She climbed in without a word, her eyes already heavy. Get some sleep, Cole said. I'll be right outside if you need me. Sir? She said again, her voice small. Yeah? Thank you. Cole's throat tightened. He nodded once, then stepped out and closed the door softly behind him. He stood in the dim hallway, staring at nothing, and felt the weight of the choice he'd just made settle over him like a stone. He didn't know if the mother would come back, didn't know what kind of danger might follow, didn't know if he was strong enough to be what this child needed, but he knew one thing. He wasn't going to let her wait alone anymore. 3 days passed like quiet water. Lily stayed close to the house, moving through the rooms like a ghost learning to be solid again. She helped Cole with small things, gathering eggs, sweeping the porch, folding blankets. She didn't smile, but the tension in her shoulders began to ease. Cole taught her how to feed the chickens, how to pump water from the well. He spoke to her the way he spoke to his horses, low and steady, no sudden movements. And slowly, she began to trust him. On the 4th morning, the riders came. Cole heard them before he saw them, the low rumble of hoofbeats, the jingle of tack. He was in the barn, mending a bridle, when the sound rolled across the valley like distant thunder. He stepped outside and shaded his eyes against the sun. 4 men, riding in a loose line, taking their time. They moved with the kind of confidence that came from knowing no one would stop them. Cole's jaw tightened. He walked back into the barn, found Lily sitting in the hay, playing with a length of rope. Lily, he said quietly, go to the house. Go to your room and stay there. Don't come out until I tell you. Her eyes went wide. Who's coming? I don't know yet, but I need you to be quiet and stay hidden. Can you do that? She nodded quickly, already on her feet. She ran toward the house, her bare feet silent on the dirt. Cole watched her go, then turned back toward the approaching riders. They pulled up in front of the barn, their horses blowing and stamping. The man in front was tall and lean, with a black hat and a coat that looked too clean for the trail. His boots, Cole noticed, were polished to a shine. Help you, Cole said evenly. The man smiled. It didn't reach his eyes. Name's Voss. I'm looking for someone. Lot of empty land out here. Easy to get lost. Voss's smile widened. I'm looking for a woman. And a child. Little girl, Maybe 5 or 6. Heard they might have passed through here. Cole kept his face blank. Haven't seen anyone. That so? Voss tilted his head. Funny, because the woman I'm looking for, she's got a habit of running, and this ranch is the first place she'd stop between here and nowhere. Like I said, haven't seen anyone. One of the other riders, a heavy man with a scar across his cheek, leaned forward. He's lying. Voss held up a hand. Easy, Garrett. He looked back at Cole. See, the thing is, this woman, she took something that doesn't belong to her, and I mean to get it back. What'd she take? Cole asked. That's my business. Then I can't help you. Voss's expression hardened. You're making a mistake, friend. Wouldn't be the first time. For a long moment, no one moved. The wind stirred the dust between them. The horses shifted, sensing the tension. Then Voss smiled again, colder this time. I'll be back, he said. And when I come back, I'm bringing the law. You're harboring stolen property, and that makes you complicit. The child's not property, Cole said, his voice low and hard. Voss's eyes narrowed. So you have seen her? Cole didn't answer. Voss leaned back in his saddle, his smile sharp as a blade. I'll give you 1 day to think it over. 1 day to make the smart choice. After that, I come back with a federal warrant, and I take what's mine. And if you get in my way, I'll see you hanged. He tugged his reins, turning his horse. The others followed. They rode off slowly, deliberately, leaving a trail of dust in their wake. Cole stood motionless until they disappeared over the ridge. Then he let out a breath he didn't know he'd been holding. He turned and walked back to the house. Lily was in her room, pressed into the corner, her knees drawn to her chest. Her eyes were wide and glassy. It's all right, Cole said softly. They're gone. He's the man, she whispered. Cole crouched down. The man with your mama? She nodded. He's the one. Did he hurt you? He hurt Mama. He said she owed him. He said I was his now. Cole's hands curled into fists. You're not his. You hear me? You're not his. But he's coming back. I know. What are we going to do? Cole looked at her, this small, fragile thing who'd already been through too much, and he made a decision. We're going to fight, he said. That night, Cole didn't sleep. He sat on the porch with his rifle across his knees, watching the horizon. The stars wheeled overhead, cold and distant, and the wind whispered through the grass like a warning. Inside, Lily slept fitfully. He'd heard her cry out twice, soft and sharp, and each time he'd gone to her door and listened until she quieted again. By dawn, he'd made his choice. He saddled his horse and rode into Grafton before the sun cleared the ridge. He found Sheriff Kratic in his office, pouring coffee. Cole, Kratic said, surprised. Didn't expect you this early. We've got trouble, Cole said. He told him everything. The riders, Voss, the threat of a federal warrant. Kratic listened, his face growing darker with every word. When Cole finished, the sheriff set down his cup and swore under his breath. Marcus Voss, Kratic said. I know him. He's a traitor. Buys and sells contracts, land deeds, debts. He's got connections in Cheyenne, maybe even Washington. If he says he's got a warrant, he probably does. Can he claim a child like property? If the mother signs something, yeah. Indentured servitude, debt bondage. It's legal in some territories. Ugly as hell, but legal. Cole's jaw tightened. So what do? You give him the girl, Kratic said flatly, before he comes back with men who'll burn your ranch to the ground. I'm not giving her to him. Then you're a dead man, Cole. And so is she. Cole leaned forward. There has to be another way. Kratic shook his head. Not one that ends well for you. Cole stood. Then I'll take my chances. Cole, I'm not handing that child over to a man who treats people like livestock. I don't care what the law says. Kratic stared at him. Then he sighed. You're a damn fool. Probably. The sheriff was quiet for a moment. Then he reached into his desk and pulled out a folded paper. If you're going to do this, at least do it smart. This is a writ of guardianship. I can file it today. Claim you're her legal guardian until her mother's found. It won't stop Voss, but it'll slow him down. Give you time. Cole took the paper. Time for what? To figure out if that mother's dead, alive, or somewhere in between. If she's alive and she signed a contract under duress, we might be able to break it. If she's dead, he trailed off. If she's dead, the contract's void. Cole finished. Maybe. If we can prove it. Cole nodded slowly. All right, file it. Kratic stood and extended his hand. You're doing the right thing, Cole. Even if it kills you. Cole shook his hand. Let's hope it doesn't. When Cole returned to the ranch, Lily was awake, sitting at the table with a cup of water. She looked up when he came in, her eyes searching his face. Are they coming back? She asked. Not today, Cole said. Maybe not tomorrow, but soon. She was quiet for a moment. Then she said, Why are you helping me? Cole sat down across from her. Because it's the right thing to do. Mama said people don't do the right thing. She said they do what's easy. Your mama was scared. Scared people say things they don't mean. Lily looked down at her hands. Do you think she's dead? Cole hesitated. Then he said, I don't know. I think she is. Lily said softly, I think she knew she wasn't coming back. That's why she told me to be brave. Cole's throat tightened. Maybe. But that doesn't mean she didn't love you. Then why did she leave me? Because she thought it was the only way to keep you safe. Lily's eyes filled with tears. It doesn't feel safe. Cole reached across the table and took her small hand in his. I know, he said. But I promise you, I'm not going anywhere. You hear me? I'm staying right here. A tear slipped down her cheek. You promise? I promise. She nodded, her small fingers tightening around his. They sat like that for a long time, the morning light spilling through the window, the world outside quiet and still, and for the first time since she'd appeared in his barn, Lily looked like a child again. Voss came back on the 6th day. This time, he brought 8 men, and a piece of paper. Cole saw them from the porch. He'd been expecting this. He stood slowly, rifle in hand, and watched them approach. Voss dismounted and walked forward, holding up the paper like a flag of truce. I've got a federal writ, Brennan, signed by a judge in Cheyenne. The girl's mine by contract. You hand her over now or I take her by force. Cole didn't move. What kind of contract? The mother signed her over. Payment for debts owed. Debts she couldn't pay because you made sure she couldn't. Voss smiled. Business is business. And the mother? Where is she now? Voss shrugged. She made her choice. Walked into the night. Haven't seen her since. So she's dead. I didn't say that. You didn't have to. Voss's smile faded. Last chance, Brennan. Give me the girl. No. The men behind Voss shifted. Hands moved toward guns. Then another voice cut through the air. I wouldn't do that. Sheriff Kratic rode up from the south, flanked by 3 deputies. He had his own rifle out, resting across his saddle. Voss turned, his expression darkening. This doesn't concern you, Sheriff. It does when you're threatening one of my citizens. Kratic pulled his horse to a stop. And I've got some news for you, Voss. That contract you're waving around, it's void. The hell it is. Kratic reached into his coat and pulled out his own paper. We found the mother, 2 days ago, buried in a shallow grave 15 miles west of here. Coroner says she'd been dead for 5 days, which means she was already dead when you came here the first time. Voss's face went pale. That makes you a liar, Kratic continued, and it makes your contract worthless. The girl's not property. She's a ward of the state, and I've already filed guardianship papers for Cole Brennan. Voss's jaw worked. You can't prove I had anything to do with her death. I don't have to. I just have to prove you tried to claim a child under false pretenses. That's fraud and kidnapping. And if you push me, I'll add murder to the list. For a long moment, no one moved. Then Voss smiled, thin and bitter. You think this is over? Yeah, Kratic said. I do. Voss stared at him, then at Cole. Then he turned and swung back into his saddle. Let's go. he said to his men. They rode off, slower this time, their shadows stretching long across the grass. Kratic waited until they were out of sight. Then he looked at Cole. You all right? Cole nodded. Thanks, Tom. Don't thank me yet. You just signed up to raise a little girl on your own. That's harder than anything Voss could have done to you. Cole almost smiled. I'll manage. Kratic tipped his hat. I believe you will. He rode off, his deputies following. Cole stood on the porch for a moment, the rifle still in his hand. Then he set it down and walked inside. Lily was in her room, sitting on the edge of the cot. She looked up when he came in. Is he gone? She asked. Yeah, Cole said. He's gone. Forever? Forever. She let out a breath. Then, quietly, she said, They found Mama, didn't they? Cole crouched down in front of her. Yeah, they did. Her lip trembled. Is she? Yeah. The tears came, then silent at first, then heaving sobs that shook her small body. Cole pulled her into his arms and held her, his hand on the back of her head, letting her cry into his chest. He didn't say anything. There was nothing to say. He just held her. After a long time, the sobs quieted. Lily pulled back, her face red and wet. What happens now? She whispered. Cole looked at her, this child who'd been abandoned, hunted, and orphaned, and who was still somehow standing. Now, he said gently, you stay here, with me, for as long as you want. Really, really. She stared at him, searching his face for the lie, but there wasn't one. Okay, she said softly. Cole nodded. Okay. Epilogue. Years later, when Lily was grown, she would still remember that morning, the way the light came through the window, the smell of coffee and hay, the quiet strength in Cole's voice when he'd promised to stay. She would remember the ranch, the horses, the wind, the endless sky. She would remember learning to ride, to rope, to stand her ground. She would remember Cole teaching her to read, to write, to fight for what was right even when the world said otherwise. And she would remember the day he told her the truth about her mother. Not that she'd been weak, but that she'd been desperate, and desperate people made impossible choices. Lily never blamed her, because Cole had taught her that love wasn't about staying. It was about making sure the people you loved had a chance to survive, and her mother had given her that. By the time Lily left the ranch heading east to study, to build a life of her own, Cole was gray and bent, but still standing, still steady. She hugged him on the porch, and he held her the way he had that first day. You'll come back? He asked. Always, she said. And she did, because some promises aren't made with words. They're made in the space between silence and action, in the choice to stay when you could leave, in the refusal to let someone wait alone. And Lily knew deep in the marrow of her bones that the man who'd found her in his barn hadn't just saved her life. He'd taught her what it meant to be human,